Hi everybody, Patty Ann here. Hang on just a second. Today I've decided to do one of my very first silhouette tutorials. As you know, I just have a Cricut machine, but I'm learning how to use silhouette software for my Cricut machine, and I just got done making this, and you are not going to believe how easy this was. So follow me up here to my computer. And the first thing that I did was I came to this place, pixabay.com. All of these images on here are free to use. And so I looked for an image. I typed in puppy, and I looked for an image that didn't have any shading or anything. And I found this really cute dog. So I clicked on it to make it bigger. And then I right-clicked on it and said Save Image As. And I actually saved this image as puppy right here. So I've already done that. I don't really need to do it again. So I'll say cancel. So the next thing that I do is I come to silhouette. Oh, and let me get rid of this. No, I don't want to save it. I'll just open a new one. You can open a lot of different mats right here. So I'm going to come up here to open, and I'm going to look for the puppy. Puppy. There he is, right there's the one I want. And he's going to come in fairly small, so I think I'll click on him so that I get all these boxes around him, and then I can stretch him bigger. And just like in Design Space, I can rotate him if I find this little green circle right here, and I can rotate him. There we go. All right, I'm pretty happy with him. Notice he's just one piece. I'm moving him back and forth. He's just one piece. In order to cut him out of vinyl, I want him to be a lot of pieces. I want him to be an SVG file. So how do I do that? Gee, it's so easy, you guys. Watch. All you have to do is come over here to this thing that looks like, well, some people say a butterfly, but I think it looks like a piece of toast. Click on this. And then you click on where it says Select Trace Area. And once you click on that, you come over to your image that you want to trace and draw a box around it. And this one came in perfectly. What you want is the lines to be yellow like that. So if it looked like this maybe, or you know, this, I don't know, it's hard to... Like that, I wouldn't like it particularly. Okay, that looks pretty good, just like that. I can tell where his tongue goes. I can see where his nose goes, his eyeballs. That's really good. So I'm just going to come down here and say trace. So again, all I did was I picked an image off of pixabay.com and I brought it in to Silhouette. Now this image is ready for me to color, but I can't color it yet because it's all grouped together into one big hunk. So what I need to do is basically ungroup it, or in Silhouette they call that Object Release Compound Path. And then that makes it, can you see all the little boxes it made now? So now I can just go through here and start coloring. The first thing I'm going to do is the backing, because it looks like his whole body has black around the edges, and even in here there are black lines. So I'm going to click on that outer black line and come up here, and I can click on this little box and choose the color black. And there's my backing ready to go. So I just move that off to the side. So the next thing I'm going to do then, I think I'll color him brown. So I'm going to come here and start to click on the brown part. So that's brown. This little ear isn't connected, so I need to click on it. Hold down my shift key and click it. Come down here and click this tail area. And I think this foot and his tail over here. Or his other foot, I guess it is. I think I have them all. So I'm going to come up here to the color area again, and I'm going to grab this eyedropper because I want him to be the same color as what he looks like, you know, in this original version. Sorry. So I'm going to click on the eyedropper, and notice it is an eyedropper. I'm going to come down here and click on any part of the brown, and that changes all of these pieces over here to brown, which is exactly what I want. Now I'm going to click off of him for a minute and think. So his nose needs to be black. I don't think I need to put an extra black piece on here. I think I can cut the brown out right here, and the black of the underground piece will show through. So if I click on his nose, I can't click on his nose. So that must be grouped together. I'll come up to Object, Release Compound Path again. And now, well, let me get the right tool. I want this Select tool. Now I can click on his nose. Now once I've clicked on his nose, I'm going to come over here to this little button. It's called the Modify Panel button. It's got a rectangle and a little circle. I'm going to click on that. And notice there's all kinds of ways that I can modify my image. Well, right now I have his nose selected. I'm going to hold down my Shift key and select the rest of his head. And then I'm going to say Subtract, because I'm subtracting the nose out. Now watch what happens when I put this behind here. You see, I won't need another piece of vinyl to put on top for his nose. So I see some other places that I could subtract out, so I wouldn't need to put black vinyl on top. Whoopsie. So let me move this black piece out if I can. Undo. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at other pieces that I should be selecting out. And I'm going to zoom in by holding my Control key and the plus key on my keyboard. Okay. So the first thing I notice is, well, let's bring him over so I can see him a little better. The eyebrows need to be cut out. Click on one, hold down my Shift key, click on the other, and try to get the eyes too if I can. I don't think I can. So I'm going to try that again. Eyebrow, hold down my Shift key, eyebrow, eyebrow, Shift key, eyebrow, and now I'm going to hold down and get his head, and then I'm going to come over here again to this transform or modify and say subtract. And look again, when I come over here, I just subtracted the eyebrows out. So we don't have to make teeny tiny eyebrows. They'll show up from the black underneath. All right, I want to do the same thing for his mouth right here. I'm going to see if I can click on his mouth. I think I've got it here. So I've got his mouth, hold down my Shift key, get some brown behind it, come up here and subtract. Yep, very good. There's only one problem I see, and I must not have done his tongue properly. And so I'm not going to be thrilled with that because it's not going to be perfect on his mouth. And I'll show you when I'm all done with this how I could have fixed that originally. But let's get a few more of these by zooming in. And I can click on this little one and then hold down my Shift key and click on the larger one. Okay, and then holding my Shift key, get the brown and go to subtract. Perfect. There's a little Z thing over here. I can click on that. Shift key, the brown, subtract. Great. Okay, there's one of them. Hold down the Shift key. There we go. And holding down the Shift key still, get that and subtract. Sometimes they just give you a little bit of trouble. All right, let's zoom back in, I guess, or out, something. And let's move this behind and see how it's looking. Okay, that looks pretty good except for the eyeballs, and as I said, I messed up the mouth. I will highlight that stuff and then go to Object and Release Compound Path. And now I should be able to grab an eyeball, hold down my Shift key, and grab the other eyeball and get that modify panel again and say subtract. That didn't do it right. Wait a minute. Eyeball. Hold down the shift key. Eyeball. And get the brown color. And then subtract. Okay, great. These two little eyeballs here. So I can move him out of the way so I can see more clearly. And I can click on this little eyeball part, hold down the shift key and click on this eyeball part, and I need to make them white. Okay. And then these eyebrows need to be, didn't I do those already? No, I didn't. Huh, thought I did. Okay, the eyebrows, eyebrow, eyebrow, head, and subtract. Okay, and I thought I did this. Must be because I've done these several times. The mouth, hold down the shift and the backing and subtract. There we go. All right, let's go back out or in, whichever. Okay, there's one more thing I need to do, and that's to grab the beard and to make it white. Okay, he really looks perfect other than I messed up in the very beginning. So as soon as I show you how to save this, I'll tell you how I should have fixed that. So this is good just like it is right now. So I'm going to delete this one over here on the left, and I'm going to come up here to File, Save As, Save to Hard Drive, and I'm going to name this Puppy, I don't know, I'll just name it Puppy 7 because I've been doing a lot of these. Now the most important part to remember is I need to change this from Silhouette Studio. I don't have a Cameo or a Silhouette machine. I have a I don't even have a scan and cut anymore. I have a Cricut Explore Air. So I'm going to use this drop down arrow, and I need to change it to an SVG. If I don't change it to an SVG, it will not work in my Cricut machine. So puppy number 7 in the downloads, okay. So now I'm going to come over here into Cricut Design Space, and I'm going to go to Upload, Upload an Image, Browse, and I'm going to find puppy number 7, Puppy 7, there he is. Okay, looks good, bring him in, save, insert, and here he is. Now after I brought him in, what I would do is I would come over here on the right and select all of the white or the brown pieces first by holding down my shift key and just selecting them, and then I would come down here to Weld. I might do the same with the white eyeballs, weld those together, weld. And then I would just go to Make It, and you'll notice there's the beard, the 2 white eyeballs, and the inside of his mouth. This is the backing layer, and then this is the top layer. And as I said, there should be one more layer, the red tongue. But this is all we need to do. Continue, cut it out of vinyl, and it'll end up beautifully. So let's just go back to Silhouette one last time, and let me show you what happened here, why I don't have the red tongue. So I go to Open, and I'm going to open the puppy picture again. And I brought him in and I made him larger. And I moved him this way so he stood up kind of. And then I came over here to the tracing tool. It looks like toast to me. And it says to select the trace area, so I'll do that. Okay, this is the part I didn't do right. Do you see how that yellow tongue is all connected to the outline of the mouth? I don't want it to be like that, so I'm going to keep going back until I can see it separate, just like that. You notice the difference? Let me see if I can make this bigger for you. Okay, so if I undo that, Oh, it's going to undo the sizing. Heavens. All right, let me make it bigger now first. All right, so there's his tongue. That's the way it looks right now, right? I need to change this threshold button down a little bit so that this tongue is not connected to all this, which is going to be black. Because then obviously, just like in my sample, it was black. So I'm moving this threshold down a little bit at a time until I can see it's a totally different color with an outline around it, so I'll be able to cut that. And so then I would just say trace. And this time I would drag this off, and let me get back in or out. I can never remember what to say. And now I will be able to, well, you remember first what I have to do, object, release compound path. And now I will be able to actually paint his little tongue. I think I just selected it, I think. Yeah. So you see how I'd be able to select his tongue now. And then this line right here will not be black. That's the part that I'm going to cut out, remember? So I'm not going to do that next. I would do this brown color next, maybe. And change it to the brown. And then if I wanted to, I could start working on some of these other pieces. But again, the first thing I usually like to do is the total backing. So that again is black. So anyways, I hope this has kind of wet your whistle a little bit to see what kind of things we can do in design or in Silhouette Business Edition that we can use in Design Studio. So I hope you'll join me again, and I've got so many fun things to show you guys. You are not going to believe it. Thanks again for joining me now. If you like my videos, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. And check out my affiliate links down below. It helps to keep me going. And leave comments and questions. I love them. Thanks. Bye.